Hello, welcome to John's Author Diary for the week ending July the 28th, 2019. I'm actually recording this on the 29th, which is the Monday. Because last week I was away. It was my 10th anniversary with my wife, so we went away to basically sit in the woods for a week in a log cabin, enjoying wine and gin and a hot tub. So, fantastic week, really chilled. Finished that off by spending the weekend in Edinburgh. So I went to the 20 Books conference and learned a lot about marketing and writing, craft and things like that. So my head's still spinning with everything that I've learned. There was absolutely loads of stuff in there, loads of useful things. Met some great people, caught up with some author friends. So a lot of these people I have only spoken to online. So I'm in a few things like accountability groups on Facebook and things like that. So it was really nice to catch up with people, actually put faces to names, and also to see people who I've met before at other events and catch up with them because, you know, writing is a bit of a weird business, especially when you're an author who does it full time. And so actually having conversations with people who get it is amazing. You know, even my closest family, my closest friends won't be able to have those kind of conversations with me just because they probably see it as a hobby or something like that. So, yeah, really enjoyed that. 20 Books Edinburgh, great times. I'm not sure if they're going to do any more UK events. I hope they do. I got a lot from this. So one thing that I did notice while I was there is because I went on holiday, I decided to leave Digit, my guide dog, with a boarder. So he went to stay for a week with the woman who actually was his puppy walker. So when he was being trained to be a guide dog, he stayed with this woman for quite a while. And so she taught him how to be a good dog, basically. And so he's gone to stay with her for a week. I think in about an hour he'll be returning. But I really missed having Digit around. I don't like going around with a stick. I feel really awkward with it now. So I'm just glad to be getting the dog back. I mean, one of my main reasons for not taking Digit to the conference was because he is such a cutie. I knew that I would end up having 150 conversations about dogs rather than a conversation about the stuff that I'm interested in, which is books. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am interested in talking about dogs, but when you're paying a conference fee and you're there to meet people, it's not really where I want to focus my time and energy, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So I've been reading a book called The Witcher, Blood of Elves, first book in the Witcher series. This is by Andrzej Sapkowski. So I've been recommended this, I can't even remember how many times, so many times. So I've been reading it and I'm about halfway through. It's cool. It feels like lots of interrelated stories, kind of more like short stories. So yeah, really cool. I think there's some great world building in there, really interesting stuff going on, some good characters, so I would recommend that. I finished reading Underworld by Graham Hancock, so that wasn't as good as some of his other books. It was a bit of a long slog. It's a 31-hour audiobook. I mean, I listen to them faster, but it still takes a while to get through. So I did enjoy that. I thought there was some quite interesting stuff in there, but a lot of it seemed very inconclusive. So this was the book about exploring underwater cities, evidence of lost civilizations, and it seemed that a lot of the places that he was exploring can also be explained by geological things, so I don't know. There was nothing firm about that. He has got another book that I'm interested in reading, which is called America Before, so I've got that on Audible, so I'll probably listen to that over the next few weeks. I'm also reading a book called A History of Britain in 100 Places, so again, this is another one that is looking at our ancient history. So the first, I think I'm 7 places into it. And so they've all been kind of Neolithic, kind of early human kind of stuff. So all very interesting to me. Now, what I've really liked recently as well is my son. He's 6. He's going to be 7 in September. He's really starting to get into reading. So he has recently read all of the How to Train Your Dragon books by Cressida Cowell. And he's read the first 2 in the Wizard of Once series, and now he's moved on to Harry Potter. So I couldn't be prouder, to be honest. Very cool. So this Thursday is the release of Wheel of Fortune. I've mentioned before, I don't like this title. It reminds me too much of the game show, but it is a tarot card in a major arcana. Next one after that is called Justice. So over the next week, I'm going to try and do the second draft of that. I don't know if I'll get it complete, but if I can get at least halfway through, I'll be pleased with that. That's going to require me getting up at 4:45 a.m, do my meditation, do my exercises, things like that, and then get started writing before everyone's up at about 5:30. Now, this morning, I broke from that routine So I got up at 7:20. I needed a lie-in. I was absolutely drained from speaking to scores of people, other authors, all the information from the conference. We drove from Edinburgh to Morecambe last night. So that was quite a few hours as well. So, yeah, just tired this morning. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a lie-in. Screw it. I'm sure I will pay for that tomorrow when I get up at 4:45. Because I am now in dad mode. I'm in, my son's off school for the next, it'll be 5 weeks now. And so the only time that I'm going to be able to do any of my work is before he's up. And he usually gets up at about 7, half 7, something like that. So I'm urging him to have a lie-in every day so I can get more done. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love playing with my son and hanging out with him. And he's really into Pokemon at the moment. So he is talking a lot about Pokemon, which is fine. I used to play the Pokemon games myself, so I can kind of keep up-ish. But I don't know, he can talk about it for hours, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that's great, yeah, so blah, blah, evolves into a Super Badger or something, yeah, no, that's great. So, it's good. I'm glad he's enthusiastic about something. What would be ideal is if he got really enthusiastic about podcast editing or something like that. Finally, I've got an announcement about my Patreon. I think over the last few weeks I've felt as if I don't know whether I'm going to do it anymore, but I'm basically going to give it one last push. I have got things like stories and, I post up these podcasts and things like that early. So what I'm thinking of doing is I've got my rewrite of Wizard of the Wasteland. I'm going to start posting that 3 chapters a week. And then obviously I've got Knight of the Wasteland and King of the Wasteland to do as well. And so I'm hoping that having this kind of deadline creeping up on me that I know I need to get Knight of the Wasteland done and all that. So this will basically push me to get the stuff on there. Now, the stories have had a complete overhaul. They've had a complete rewrite. I've added stuff. I've taken stuff away. So they're different stories. They're different books. If you've read Wizards of the Wasteland before, go onto Patreon now. It's patreon.com/JohnCronshaw-author. You can read the first chapter for free. It's just open to anyone. And what you'll see is, yeah, it's similar, but you'll probably notice for a start that it's written in past tense now, and I think the writing's better. We get access to Abel's thoughts. There's a lot more going on. And I think, I'm a better storyteller now. I understand story more, so I think it's a tighter story. I'm hoping that it will resonate more with readers. I mean, I still get good reviews for it, but I think now what I've produced is a book that I'll be proud of in 10, 20, 30 years' time, something like that. So I do check that out. It's still in a rough, ready shape. It's not been professionally edited. The original novel was professionally edited and proofread meticulously. It was as perfect as I could make it, and then I've gone in there and tore it all down. So I will basically need a new edit, new proofread and all that. But, it's there. The story's there. You can see what's going on. And so I'm going to post that 3 times a week until that's done. Then I'm going to move on to Knight of the Wasteland. I'll probably end up doing the same with the scenes that I've been writing for Black Death. Now, because that is a collaborative work, the way we're doing it is I'm basically writing, 3 points of view within the story, and then the other collaborator's writing another point of view. So what I'll probably end up doing is posting those scenes as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up for patrons. And I think that's going to be my thing going forward. I think what I want to do is, with the Ravenglass books, offer the scenes as I write them. And I think what will be interesting is, when I do my second draft of the Ravenglass books, I send them to a couple of alpha readers, and then sometimes I rewrite the scenes and the story pivots or goes in a different direction because it's still, everything to play for really in terms of where the story goes. So it might be that the version that the readers on Patreon read might be different to the version that's published, but I think that is quite cool to have a record of that process. So I'm really excited about this actually. I think this is a way that I can do it that's sustainable, where it doesn't feel like I'm having to do extra work, but it's also giving some really cool value to people who want to read more of my stuff and kind of have a bit of a glimpse into the ongoing process. Now, there's even part of me thinking, I don't know if there's interest in it, but I might even post my raw dictation to my stories. Now, this will sound insane to anyone who is listening because when I dictate, I also dictate the punctuation. So you will hear me say things like full stop and open quote and new line and things like that. But if that is something you're interested in, let me know. And something I'll consider. So please email me. It's john@johncronshaw.com. Same goes if you've got any questions or anything like that. So please do check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/johncronshawauthor. Do that now. Check out what I'm doing. I'm really excited about it and really energised about it. So, if you are interested, if you want to support this podcast, if you want to support me, if you want a glimpse into my writing process and things like that, I'll probably end up sharing things as well, like pictures of my outlines and my crazy scribbles on how I come up with stories, because, I'll do it probably in a really strange way compared to other authors. So I'll probably start sharing stuff like that to some of the higher tiers. But you can sign up for $1 a month. And as I say, there is stuff on there that is free for anyone to look at. Just scroll through, see what's going on. So thanks again for listening, and please do check that out. So patreon.com/johncronshawauthor. So until next time, cheerio.